Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. My name is Yana. This is The Scented, and in today's video, we are going to be comparing Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille to MAC's Velvet Teddy. I guess I ought to show you the bottles. So here they are, the two of them. This is another bougie versus budget, and we're going to be looking at how the two of them compare. So if you guys are interested in finding out the differences between the two fragrances, then just keep on watching. So for those of you guys that are new here, my bougie versus budget segment is pretty new, and my goal is to compare two fragrances that have a similar effect, sort of smell alikes, kind of in the similar vein, not dupes. So I'm going to be staying away from comparing a dupe to the original. I rather want to find fragrances with similar scent profiles and explain to you the differences between the two so that you can figure out for yourself whether or not it's worth investing in the higher end or the lower end. But this is basically how to achieve the look or the effect on a high and low end of a budget. So we're gonna start off with the Tobacco Vanille. I do have the big decanter bottle, so there is no sprayer, so I'm gonna have to be super duper careful and just dab this on to my paper. I'm telling you guys right now, this juice is potent. It is so potent that when I have this in my closet, I can actually just smell it in the closet just with it just standing there. Before I get into the scent profile, let me tell you guys a little bit about the fragrance. Obviously, it's on the very high end of the price scale. It is a Tom Ford fragrance. It's one of the private blends, and this fragrance actually came out in 2007, so it's not new. It's been around for quite some time, and it's been catching a lot of hype. This, as the name suggests, is a tobacco vanilla dominant fragrance. So in terms of note breakdown for this fragrance, in the top notes, it's tobacco, leaf, and spices. In the mid, it's vanilla, cacao, tonka, and tobacco blossom. And in the base, you have dried fruits and woodsy notes. This smells very like sweet vanilla, and to me, it comes off very honey-esque, especially when I put it on skin. It's powdery. That cacao gives it a powdery effect, and it's mostly a very, very sweet, dense fragrance that is a little bit reminiscent of a chai latte. So it's not a smoky tobacco. It's a like a tobacco leaf. Like think of a juicy cigar. That's kind of the tobacco that's in here, and it's a really nice, sweet, slightly masculine leaning scent. I like to wear it myself. I find it's fairly unisex, but just a touch masculine leaning. Considering how strong it is when I smell it in my closet, I actually don't find that it has the best performance. Just factoring that in, I get about 8 hours out of it, which is good, but it sticks to fabric like you wouldn't believe. Like, it sticks to fabric more than most other fragrances. I actually smelled it with my mask on, and that mask now smells just like Tobacco Vanille. So the way that it develops on my skin, I put it on, I get that burst of tobacco in the beginning, but very quickly it goes into the dry fruit facets, which to me smell like a honeyed dry fruit. So if you think of like apricots and prunes and all of that, imagine them in like a honey syrup. That's kind of the sweetness that I get in this fragrance. The spices, I'm sure there's cinnamon in here. I definitely pick up cinnamon. There's probably some cardamom in there, and the typical spices that you would probably find in a chai tea, because it does smell a lot like a chai tea to me, but more of like a warm tobacco-y sort of chai tea, if that makes sense. It does have a very large scent bubble though. So when I wear this, you can smell it like easily from 4 feet away. People can smell me, people notice it, they comment it. So Tobacco Vanille on my skin doesn't perform the greatest. I know that it's known to be like a pretty good projector, but at the same time, I've heard people say it doesn't project well on them. So it really, I think, depends on your skin. I think that I tend to have drier skin, so fragrances don't really last very long on my skin as a general rule. So for me, 8 hours I think is great. And the scent bubble, the sillage is very, very large on me. You can pick it up easily. This scent on my skin doesn't develop too much. It starts off very sweet, very tobacco-y, spicy, like honey. I get a lot of honey, even though honey's not listed. I'm telling you guys, I get a honey note on my skin. On paper, not as much. And it does develop into more of a powdery effect. So the cacao does come out. I do pick that up a little bit later. And when it dries down, it's very much of a similar scent, but more of like a vanilla-centric, still sweet tobacco scent. Pretty much all the way through for me. So in terms of price point, it's not fair for me to like base it on this, because I believe the big one is about $700 or $800, but the 30 ml bottles at Sephora are $200. The 50 ml bottles are $320. I'm talking Canadian dollars here, guys. So it is quite a pricey fragrance. Very, very pricey, very luxe, and it smells that way. It definitely smells very expensive, very refined. I love it a lot. Now let's get into MAC Velvet Teddy. And at first sniff, it does bear a resemblance. But let me get into how this smells, the note breakdown, price point, and performance, all the things. Price point wise, this is a 50 ml bottle. It only comes in 50 ml, and on the MAC website, it is 67 Canadian dollars. But they often run sales, so I think I got mine for around $40 or $45. So significantly cheaper than the Tobacco Vanille. I've heard rumors that this is getting discontinued. I just checked the MAC website and it says out of stock, but it's not removed. So as far as I know, the Shade Sense collection is still available. They still have it at my local MAC boutique. So as of today, this is still readily available, at least where I live, not a problem to find. Now, in terms of the note breakdown for this one, it's tobacco blossom at the top with ginger and bergamot. Then in the middle, this one actually does have honey. There's also vanilla orchid and mimosa. And in the base, there's tonka, musk, and papyrus. So I will give this one a quick spray on paper. This one, off the bat, yes, it does smell like Tobacco Vanille, but it has more of a floral facet. So definitely that orchid comes out, and the mimosa, which also lends a honey-esque scent. Mimosa has a little bit of a honey-esque scent, and the honey is very, very strong here. It's a little bit toned down with the tobacco, but to me, and on my skin especially, I get a scent that smells a little bit boozy, almost like a fermenting fruit, like almost a decaying fruit, like a overripe, I guess not spoiled, but very overripe, maybe plum or something like that, like a stone fruit. Smells like an overripe stone fruit to me. And it's like, it's a little bit boozy in that regard. So it could be also the papyrus. Papyrus has this like pulpy smell. I don't prefer it. That particular note is a little bit bitter and a little bit off-putting to me, and I would really love this fragrance if not for that note. I don't think that it's too prominent. Like, I don't think that everybody would notice it. It's quite subtle. I just am very picky with things like that. I'm very picky with underlying kind of irritating notes. So if you're like me and you pick up on subtle nuances like that, then this may not be the one for you. But as an overall scent, yes, extremely similar to Tobacco Vanille. It's like a more feminine, a little bit more floral, less spicy Tobacco Vanille. It doesn't have a strong cinnamon note. I can hardly pick that up at all. It's more a little bit gingery and a little bit less dense. So the Tobacco Vanille is very, very dense. This one's a little bit lighter, so it's a lot easier to wear on an everyday basis, and I think that men could easily wear this as well. I talked about it in my women's fragrances that men can easily wear, that I'll link up at the top for you guys. In terms of longevity, I also get about 8 hours with this fragrance, so it is on par with Tobacco Vanille, but in terms of the scent bubble, aka the sillage, the bubble is smaller than Tobacco Vanille. Just a little bit. I just noticed that the Tobacco Vanille is like quite a monster projector for the time that it does stick around. It's very noticeable. This one is just slightly less. So people will still smell it. It's not a skin scent. They don't have to come super close to you to smell it, but probably like within a foot and a half, let's say. Whereas the Tobacco Vanille, it leaves a trail. I know people notice it because I had a lot of comments and compliments on it, and it does project more than Velvet Teddy. But for the price point, Velvet Teddy is an excellent alternative. It does give you the same honeyed, sweet tobacco vanilla scent profile. Very, very similar. I would say that the Velvet Teddy is about, okay, 80 is a little low. Probably 85% similar. I was gonna say 80, but it's more. It's probably about 85% similar. And it's well done. You can smell that it's a little bit less refined, a little bit less luxe, but honestly, it's a great fragrance. Like, it's great value for that price point. So I would recommend this to somebody who wants to smell like Tobacco Vanille but doesn't want to spend all that money. Maybe they can't afford it. This is a really, really good alternative, especially for women. This is a little bit more feminine leaning, like I've said, but quite unisex at the same time. So I hope that this put things into perspective for you guys a little bit, and you have a good idea of how the two of them compare to each other. And if you found this video helpful, then please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you guys haven't already. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.